Today is 25th August, market open positive and eventually trade a small body rejecting the high up 14 point at 3247 with about average volume. Over here we have seen very strong rally, met resistance at 3,300 followed by retracements. Now this is likely to be part of a consolidation patterns. Now it's quite evident market has lost its momentums as seen by this downward pointing 13 SMA. So likely to be choppy for some of the big cap stocks, particularly the bank. Now immediate resistance is at this pivot high here, 3288. The more significant resistance remain at 3,300. Now supports, we have a pivot low here. This is a weak support which is at 3224. The more significant support is actually at this level here. That is about 3,200. Let's take a look at the US market. This is S&P 500. Mentioned in the previous videos, this is a broadening patterns and it's testing the upper channel line. And followed by a pullback. Now this pullback itself is accompanied with a gap. So this gap offers some kind of resistance to any upward move. And this is at about 4228. Now unless this gap is actually filled, any upward move is likely to be more difficult. It's likely to actually retrace from here. Now we see similar patterns in Nasdaq. Again, you have a broadening patterns and it tests the upper channel line before it actually retrace. Again, we have a gap and this is likely to be a challenge, and this happens to be around 12,705. Now if you plot the 40 weeks, which is 200 days on the daily charts, the 40 week itself present a technical resistance. And very obvious is actually is downward pointing, so it's difficult to actually break on first attempt, or rather this is the second attempt. It's more likely to actually move downward. So unless this gap is actually filled, otherwise it's very difficult for it to stage further upward move. Now this is a chart of Brent crude, managed to recover above the significant support level 96.93. Notice it was actually trading within the downward channels and momentarily break the support, managed to recover and break the downward pointing channel line. This channel line is still downward pointing, so this break itself we are not too sure unless we see very obvious follow through. Now you notice over here we have a gap. This gap will present some kind of resistance. This is probably just below at about 104. Now let's take a look at some of the stock we'll be discussing. This is Semco industry, very nice consolidation patterns, and it break out quite convincingly. Notice the increase in volume over here. Now over here we have a 4-cent dividends. Again managed to pick out the high. Now the last setup is actually here. This is a small dipper setup which was actually broken momentarily 3 days ago. And today we have nice follow through, trade a shaven head. Shaven top rather, with increased volume. So look for pullback here and look for new setups to go long. Now Capricorn itself is consolidating. All right, and today there was a break above this high here. This is 709. So there was a momentary break. Like to see a follow through from here. Otherwise look for a pullback and look for a new setup. Now Semco Marine has certain upward move, but by and large this stock has actually broke out of this consolidation patterns, and there was a retest of this downward channel line and before it bounced off. But chart pattern wise we need to be mindful because actually there is overhead resistance and this appeared to be actually quite formidable, and that's about 12 cents. So perhaps we wait for this to be taken out before we can actually trade the stocks to be on the safe side. Now another oil related stock. Now this stock is actually very weak, but actually managed to actually find a bottom here, and today we see some upward move. I'd like to see whether it can actually follow through, take out this high here, convincing this end of the day is a double bottom. So this is our neckline levels, which is at 26 cents, and today it closed at 26 as well. Notice this is just a consolidation pattern. 1326 SMAs are not in order. CDLs are one of the strongest stocks, but right now experiencing retracements. after the dividends, ex-dividends, whatever the case may be, this is quite steep. It may likely to consolidate sideways, so we just have to leave the stock alone, and it probably take some time before it completes its consolidations. But nevertheless, this has been a very strong stock.